So we're on to the finale now.
Over there.
Fun fact, back whenever I originally played this game, way back in the day, my game crashed right here. I was about 20 minutes from beating the game, had never saved at that point, and this is where the game decided to crash on me. So yeah, my original playthrough of The Suffering ended right here in particular. And I just thought that was a terrible tragedy, so I had to fix that in particular.
Did you kill your children, or did this place somehow do it? Like it has taken mine. Oh, these are black times. It hurts too much to stop and think about it. We must keep going.
But yeah, Ernesto's starting to have differing opinions on us, considering we're not, evil, murdering people, and all of that. He seems to have the idea that we aren't a complete dick, so it's really nice to have him, looking at us in a different light. I actually don't get Ernesto to the end, because, again, I didn't really want to keep replaying parts in particular, just because the NPCs die. It would have made this run so much longer than it needed to be if I just kept doing it to save NPCs. In particular, it is kind of a pain in the ass to have NPCs following you whenever you want to use insanity abilities and stuff, though, because you can actually friendly fire, so it can be kind of bad to do that. If you use the slam attack, then you can insta-kill your NPC ally with you. But yeah, at this point, Ernesto kind of out of the picture. Not really sure what killed him or anything, but he's just gone, so I wasn't too torn up about it. But at the same time, it would have been nice to carry on his story. But it's kind of like, whatever, I don't want to keep restarting 50 times until he lives, because that would have drove me absolutely insane. That's exactly what happened in the second one, but because the story beats change depending on how you do with NPCs, I wanted everything to be good at the end whenever Killjoy is giving you your evaluation. So that one in particular, I did restart multiple times, and it definitely bumped up the playtime by like an hour and a half. At the end, it still took me only like 6 hours to beat the game, but it's kind of crazy that it took that much just because of the change in particular for having to save the NPCs to get the good story beats. This area in particular, really not that difficult of a puzzle to figure out. You just block the drain and then it stops the fire. But yeah, being locked in a tiny little area with a bunch of flames and stuff, I don't know what asshole decided to put the Inferna in this room with you, but that man is sadistic. But this is where I ended up figuring out that you can actually escape their flame trails and stuff by standing on top of something. And this box in particular happens to be a godsend. So whenever the Inferno start coming our way, we can actually hop on top of the box, and it will help quite a bit, honestly. I do end up going down to them once or twice here, but at the end, I figure out the box trick. Again, your insanity mode, practically worthless for Infernos. Because you have to hit them, you kind of set yourself on fire, so not a good plan. But yeah, here I figure, hell, I'll just jump up on top of the box and try and deal with them that way. So it ends up being the plan for them. But they melt through the gate, and then I just end up sitting on this box, really. And it ends up being the smartest play I've probably done. I have no idea what downed that Inferno over there in particular, but yeah, I'm not bitching. So, but yeah, we just need to block off the drain and then it'll send the water down the hall, or not hall, tunnel. Thing of note, wait for the water and the fire to fully extinguish before you try and run through, because you'll see, and I was absolutely fuming whenever this next part happened in particular, because I figured I'd have to go through the Inferno again and all of that. But yeah, you can see the fire goes out, steaming, and I die. So let the steam clear before you go through, because apparently it still counts as a hitbox for the fire, and it will destroy you instantly. And yes, you can shoot the Inferno through the fence, so. But I just sit up on top of the box again. Because it worked so well last time, I'm definitely going with that strategy again. And again, they can hit you with that bomb blast attack, but it's better than just always dying, because you can't get away from their flame trail. I'll take the bit of damage from the explosion over the insta-dying from the flame trail any day. So, the box is the plan. And we just hit the last one through the fence and then can deal with the ash pile. So yeah, learning from the last time, fire/steam hot, we're definitely not going to immediately run through after we extinguish the fire this time, because that would be a terrible idea. And we don't want to do that part for a fourth time. And I actually made a backup save here just so, in case there was anything wrong in particular, that I could just reload from there. Because I figured maybe there might be a problem with this fire in particular, having a damage of sorts that never stopped. I could just come back to it and do something else. But here, as you can see, I'm waiting. I'm letting everything clear out. No chances. And then I walk through. So yeah, got a little cheated, and Inferna's still probably my least favorite enemies. So, other than that, not that bad of a section. If you realize that Infernos can't really do much as long as you're above them, then you don't really have a whole lot to worry about. And there are some supplies up on the cliffside here, so we do grab those. And we're going to end up seeing Hermes, who helps us out here after we deal with these Infernos. And because I have the height advantage, you bet your ass I am going to keep it. I am not going down there with them. Not in this lifetime. They can come up to me, that's fine, but I'm not willingly jumping down into Infernos. So we deal with them, and then we'll have our boy Hermes help us out here. Not really sure how he came back from the furnace and being, you know, I guess vaporized, but he does come back. So we kind of have all of our antagonist slash anti-antagonist people come along. Not really sure what the word for helpful antagonist would be, but they are helpful, but at the same time, they are all assholes.
Just how good a killer you really
Well, except for Horace. He's kind of just an unfortunate soul.
Anything. Go on to the dock where you'll see how things really are.
But yeah, all of them are kind of setting up the final section of, let's see what kind of man you really are. Good, bad, neutral ending. This bus, you would think that you would actually have to dodge it in the cutscene, but you actually have to dodge it. So you just kind of move out of the way and the bus will make a bridge. Not sure how the bus was driving or who was driving it, but shout out to Hermes for not being a complete dick till the end. And there we just kind of knocked the marksman up the hill, but it did kill him, so. Again, stab attack for your final upgrade. I don't really care for it personally, but it does have its niche cases of use. Then again, insanity in this game in its entirety is kind of a niche case. Not really super useful as it should be, but it does get better in the second game, where I actually find myself using it, and using it well. Not really sure what I was planning to do with that flamethrower, but hey. Decided it was worth a shot, I guess. Not the biggest brain maneuver, but, you know, sometimes you just gotta take it. But we are getting onto the final little onslaught here, to where we need to go to the dock. It's not like a super eventful kind of thing, but it is the home stretch, so to speak. And here we have a bunch of monsters infighting, so I'm just gonna let them go ahead and do that. They absolutely destroyed that Slayer, so that's all fine by me. But we did have the Burrower attacking them, and now they have their explosive rats blowing up the Slayers, so. We do still have to worry about them resurrecting, which is a pain in the ass. So I just end up deciding insanity mode's good enough to rip them to pieces. Which, I'm sure that's the original intention of insanity mode, is with its dismemberment sort of kills, it doesn't allow things to regenerate, but at the same time it wasn't really good enough to make the cut, in my opinion. So it was kind of weird. It doesn't really help out a whole lot for its intended use. But like I said, in the second one, the insanity definitely becomes a lot better. You literally have to use it whenever you face off against certain enemies, so some things in particular make it absolutely necessary to use. And it just has more uses overall with its special attacks. And again, we have more Infernus showing up, so we can't even go to the town. If our boy Ernesto was here, he'd be kind of sad. But he could be on his way. But didn't want to restart the checkpoint, because holy hell, getting Ernesto to here would have been a pain in the ass. Not even going to deal with it. But here's basically Infernus saying goodbye. Thank God. We only had to deal with them for like 40 minutes. But we're actually reaching the end of the game now. So we are on to the final section. This is the end fight.
You might think my methods a bit unorthodox, but my results will speak for themselves. Ahead you will encounter something altogether unlike what you see.
And again, Killjoy isn't really a evil character. He has good intentions with bad methods, so to speak. So he is trying to help us, but at the same time he's doing it in terrible ways. Kind of old-timey evil-ish scientist methods,
Up to you now.
where they didn't really have as much morality standing in the way as we do nowadays. So, he's old-timey. That's basically the end and gist of it. But we're going to grab all the supplies from inside this room, and we're going to have to deal with the final bosses with not a whole lot of healing, honestly. So, it's kind of bad, but at the same time, the final boss isn't really too much trouble. If you know the whole gimmick of it, where depending on the form it's in, is the form that you can hurt yourself with. The final boss is technically just you. It's you yourself in your different forms. So, Torque actually has to fight his inner demons, literally, for the final boss. So, like, whenever Torque transforms in the game, as said before, he just sees himself as a monster, but it's actually his inner rage and everything else coming out. So, our insanity form is what we're fighting now. And depending on how you attack certain things at this part, you can actually end up killing yourself by attacking yourself. So, that is something to make note of. And it can use all of the attacks that you use. So it does have the slam and the slashes. This part in particular isn't really hard once you know the whole gimmick of it and what you're doing, but it is kind of weird, like, in how it works. But I do believe that I fail once here. And then we go on to the next part, where it is more successful. The biggest problem is just the mainliners. I think it'd be kind of a cooler fight if you had to use the mainliners' attacks to stop your insanity form. Kind of like how it works for you. But as you can see, I attacked my insanity form with my own insanity form, and it killed me. So that's kind of the whole gimmick of the fight is, depending on how you attack yourself, your literal self, if you attack yourself with the form corresponding to it, it will kill you. So I attacked my insanity form with my own insanity form, and it killed me. It'll hurt you or kill you if you're low enough, so you definitely don't want to hurt yourself. So I don't want to use insanity form on my insanity form. Like, I can shoot it and it's fine, but the second that I use insanity form on it is where it'll kill me. So we can go up here and use this machine gun against our regular form, which definitely makes it quite a bit easier. Your regular old insanity form has to deal with all of the mainliners and stuff at the same time. And shooting the crane and stuff, don't really need to worry about it. But yeah, you just want to get rid of your insanity form. You just shoot at it until it changes. It will actually help you with the mainliners and enemies down below, because it's left alone down there, and it's like its own neutral party, so it will hit enemies. It's kind of weird. But I do like the whole idea of how it works. But yeah, you do need to shoot yourself, technically. You have to shoot at your insanity form, who is currently running around. And eventually it'll go down and start the next phase. And again, the mainliners just being annoying. Nothing really too bad with them in particular, but they are just annoying enemies, but they fit their purpose well enough.
They killed us to get to you, didn't they?
So we're on to the next phase with our kids talking to us again.
I just wish I could have said goodbye.
And again, depending on your morality at the time, you will get different options. And here we have human Torque. So you can probably imagine how that goes. Since he's human, we can't shoot him anymore. So we need to use Insanity now. And unfortunately, Insanity mode is kind of meh. But I do get kind of lucky and knock him off the edge, so it just instantly ends that phase. That was, in particular, really lucky, considering I had, like, no health. So yeah, ending that as quickly as it did was really nice. It does take a second for it to register, but that was the end of the second phase. And I figured something probably went wrong whenever I did that, but at the same time, it's like, I just sat there and waited, because I figured, hey, I did take him out, technically. Got caught behind a box a little bit, but other than that, that was the second phase, so now we're on to the third.
And when we got close, it all got taken away. You'd never hurt us, not on purpose.
And the third phase is the real big boy.
You always loved me and the boys. Now's the time, T. You need to face down the anger you have inside. Remember, I'm right there with you.
And Carmen just lets us know, so we start walking her way. And that's whenever it really hits the fan. And Torque is an angry boy. So yeah, if you remember in particular, we can't really do much with our regular conventional weaponry. Dr. Killjoy actually showed us how we can fight the anger inside ourselves earlier. So if you remember back, we actually need this rebirth power to deal with our third form. And the third form is basically a pushover. As long as you keep moving, it doesn't really ever hit you. You just need to hit it with the rebirth power, in particular the light on its chest. So we don't really have too much to worry about. It doesn't move around the dock, and it'll just kind of sit there and let us wail on it. So it's not really that big of a issue. And the rebirth machine will keep filling up. So we just need to keep hitting it, essentially. We are getting pretty low on health, but that's just because I have no heals. But at the same time, we do regen health once we get to a certain level. So, at the same time, we basically can't die as long as we don't take a super huge hit. But the fight is essentially super easy. I mean, this is probably the easiest part of the fight in particular. There's not really much to it. So, we're getting close to the end. This is the final fight of the game. And again, not anything in particular. But we will be getting the good ending after the fact. Depending on what Carmen and your kids say, it'll tell you which ending you're getting. They'll basically berate you if you're being bad, but if you're good, they'll say that, you know, you always loved us, all of that stuff. But we dealt with the inner demons of Torque right there, and now we get the ending story in all of its completion.
The Colonel sends his regards. Back in Eastern, he warned you, but you didn't listen. He said to leave you alive. Only you. Enjoy your new life.
And again, the Colonel was retconned to be Blackmore in particular, but if you got bad morality during all that, you would see Torque himself actually killing his family, and his hands would change at the end to be bloody. If you got neutral, then it's just a little bit different. But here, you can actually get different endings involving this Coast Guard guy. If you got the bad ending, you would smash him with a crate and just run back onto the island in your insanity form. The good ending, you don't do anything to him, you just sit on the boat. And the neutral ending, you actually knock him out and steal his boat. That's kind of weird. But yeah, the good ending exonerates Torque of everything that he did while they're going back to Baltimore.
I don't want us to ever be apart again.
But at the same time, the second one kind of
Carmen.
sweeps all of these endings under the rug. You can start the second one depending on the actions that you took. You can actually get different beginnings. The good ending, you just ride into the shore with the Coast Guard. The bad ending, you'll start on the beach incarnate and they'll find you in like a unconscious state because you went crazy and stayed on the island. And the last, or the neutral ending, you'll try and run from like the Coast Guard and stuff like that and end up being captured by them. So it is kind of cool how they connect. But that's gonna be the end of the suffering. I really enjoyed the game. I thought it was really cool. Kind of just wanted to go back and beat it after all that time because, like I said, it crashed like 15 minutes before the ending of the game for me when I originally played it. So it did kind of suck. But yeah, I will let the credits roll because these people made a really good game and I think they deserve to have their names shown. It's just something that I like to do. I don't like to cut out the credits. These people kind of earn the right to be shown. If you want to watch the credits, you can. There's not really an after credits scene, so I can't really say anything about that. But there is actually a alternate opening of this game that you can get after completing the game. So if you want to see that, you can actually look it up, but it does explain the story quite a bit more. I'd actually recommend it because it does explain Torque. It does actually explain Torque a bit more, like what's going on and everything in the beginning of the game. But other than that, that was the finale. So let me know what you guys think and have a good one.